Hey, good Saturday morning, everybody. It's May 22nd, 2021, and I'm out here with a bunch of other YouTubers for another day of fun in Centralia. This meetup's being hosted by Adam Tereska. This is probably his last tour of Centralia before he moves to Texas, so I wanted to be sure to join in. We've also got JP Videos, Revenge of the Apocalypse, Matt PG, Nick from Nick's Crossing, Luis. I forgot the full name of your channel, Luis, but Luis is here. And we got a couple others that I'm soon to meet. And we're just going to take ourselves on a tour of Centralia and get some of Adam's wisdom about the place and get a history lesson before he moves on. So stay tuned for an adventure with us today.
Houses and stuff?
Yes, it was.
I see another one over there behind you.
Yep. Okay. You want to go to that orange big hole here in the ground? Used to vent. The rest don't want to come. Oh, okay. Well, this is the vent tube, and this is the location where Todd Domboski fell through his grandmother's backyard on Valentine's Day, 1981. The house would be to the right of Steve over there. Would know where the house was. He saw the ground starting to open up a little bit, and he came over to investigate it. And when he came into this approximate area there, he fell through when the ground caved in underneath him. And his cousin actually had to crawl on his belly and basically help pull him out. And what Todd Domboski did was he actually had his feet against one side of the hole, his back against the other side of the hole, and he was holding on to tree roots from the different trees that were in the area. And this was the nail in the coffin that had the government try to push everybody out of town. Currently, I believe, if I remember correctly, Tom Domboski is currently living in Mount Carmel now, and he's doing fine, but he doesn't like talking about this, and I can understand why.
It's an eminent domain, right?
Yes, eminent domain was part of it, but his family actually moved out of here before the eminent domain took place. They moved out, I believe, '86.
Okay.
They got the offer, they took the offer, and they moved out of here.
So the government initially, they offered people money to move out?
Yes, and they're basically offering pennies on the dollar at start, and people were saying, for that price, I'll stick around.
Yeah.
And finally, when they got the $42 million allocation, they were offering people, they started off at double what the property was worth. And the diehards were like, no, you're going to have to offer me X number of dollars to get me out of here. And they said, okay. But in the beginning parts of it, you had a lot of unscrupulous behavior going on by the people trying to get everybody out of here. For instance, say they were talking to you, they come into your house, they talk to you about stuff and whatnot. Then they'd say, go over to Jamie's house next door and say, oh, well, Matt offered this, we offered Matt this much and he took it.
In other words, BSing them to get people.
That's the weakest word I can use. But yeah, I mean, they used the old divide and conquer and pit everybody against each other. And a lot of the meetings they'd have down at the municipal building turned into some major screaming matches.
I can imagine.
I mean, I was talking to David DeCoke. He was a freelance reporter. He did reporting for the different newspapers and did freelancing on his own. He wrote the book Fire Underground. And when I got to meet him and got to talk to him about it, and he said he was there for a lot of the screaming matches with these people, and it got really ugly. And that concrete slab right there was where the supports were for the overhead for the gas pumps. When they were doing tests on the gasoline to see what the levels were, they were trying to figure out why the gas was evaporating out of the tanks. And they put a thermometer down in the gas tanks, in the holding tanks, and it was reaching in excess of 172 degrees. And then inside the house itself, John Coddington, the owner of the gas station, was feeling really tired, and it turned out he was suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yikes.
Coming up through the basement.
Yikes.
So they shut down in 1979 and got them out of here. And they got the gas drained out of it because it was obviously a fire hazard. And that shut down the only gas station that was in town.
Mm.
And it's ironic because when Todd Domboski fell through his grandmother's backyard, he ran across here and was saying, you know, help, my grandmother's yard fell in. And I believe they actually tore down the gas station around 1982. But they got him out of there as quickly as possible. And I guess they were in the process of getting stuff out of the place when Todd Domboski fell through his grandmother's backyard across the street.
Gonna raise the entire town, and
Yes. And then I forget which coal company it was because they had a couple of them that were talking about. They're saying they're gonna dig up.
you say like I think you when we were up at Acid for the Pioneer Salt Gold Mines, where you said that was gonna be like a 9-figure job to, because they basically have to dig up this entire town.
The way they had it calculated, they figured it was going to be about $600 million to do a trench, which I think was extremely overpriced and extremely, you know, out there.
Yeah.
Because originally they had about $20,000 to do the first dig, and they came basically within a day and a half of having it done. But instead of giving them an extension and let them get the fire out, which in turn would have, we wouldn't be here because the town would be
Just a regular
it'd be
Pennsylvania
a regular
town at this
Pennsylvania
point.
town again. They made them stop, they made them rebid on it. 3 months went by, the fire went across. It caught the southern corner of
It
the
actually
St.
came
Nations.
down from this towards Ashland. Did it move this way?
No, it came down from Oddfellow Cemetery over there.
Okay. Okay.
There was a strip mine back there, and it came. They were burning the garbage to make the place smell better, and they didn't cap off all of the mines, and that's how it got in there to start with.
That's how it ignited.
Yes. Where that road is right there is the approximate location of the water table. It goes east to west across the town,
Gotcha.
and from Park Street up to Aristides, there was never any danger. So you're talking 30 miles from town, never had a problem. And even though the government knew this, they still wanted to get everybody out of here. And that's when they started with the money allocations, and people were getting as much as 5 times the going rate for their properties.
Wow.
Mm.
So if somebody had a $70,000 home, they were walking out of here with 350 grand.
And if you're kind of like in dire straits, that's kind of hard to pass up if you got a family to take care of.
Yeah, it's hard to pass up if you're not in dire straits.
Yeah.
I mean, what they did was they did monetary manipulations, exactly what I call it.
Yep.
And we had, there were a couple of guys in 2009, what I like to call the tale of two Johns, John Lukaitis and John Kormaninsky. They lived down in the safe zone, and they both got evicted by the state. They were given double the property value, and both of them had watched their houses get torn down.
Oh my God.
John Lukaitis had his done on Thanksgiving weekend.
Mm.
And I don't need to tell you, for myself, it was sickening for me to see that, and I couldn't even imagine what he went through.
Mm.
And John Kormaninsky, his house was done around Memorial Day weekend when his house got dropped.
Folks, this is why people don't trust the government.
That's an understatement. But yeah, they did put all these rocks up here. They had the Thunderbird done already. What I wanted to do is I wanted to set up a picture of the store and the gas pumps,
Yeah.
and have my car in there because my Thunderbird is in the right time frame.
Yeah.
It's a 77, so. And I would have parked it in there and made it like I was pumping gas.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. The town founder Alexander Ray's home. And as you can see by the 1840s, 1850s built wall here, they don't make stuff the way they used to. You know. But This is where they ended up having the American Legion. They had 2 different buildings for the American Legion. One of them had burnt down in the fire in 1908. Later on, and that stood until they started tearing down everything in the town.
Now what's that over there, that concrete?
That is where the Liberty Bell for the town was. That used to be a bell monument. The bell is now Nobleton, along with one of the existing bar fronts and some of the benches that they had on this very road. They had left where this impression is, may also have been where the building was for the American Legion as well, and they would have had it inside. But when I was down here about 2014, before it got vandalized, this is the area where it was at. And it's a shame that somebody had to go in there and try to steal it. But they were able to salvage a number of the items that were in it. Some of the paperwork they had got destroyed and they couldn't salvage it. But they were at least able to save some of the stuff from that time capsule. And as I was mentioning before, that's where they had the town's Liberty Bell in the front theater here. I'm not sure the purpose of the poles themselves, but the way this was set up originally, the way this was all masoned in, they had the bell sitting right in the middle of it. You can still see some of the piping where it was surrounding it at the time.
Look at the alien painted rock.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
That's for you, Calvin.
And for whatever reason, vandals had to come in and destroy this, and because I remember this was all still standing. But some people just have to be unscrupulous, for lack of a better word. I see the rocks collapsed where they filled in the area where the walkway was. That's new. Where that hole is there in the wall, that was the original walkway there. They had actually rocked that in to fill it in, but apparently either it fell in naturally, which I hope was the case, or somebody kicked it in. Which, if that's the case, it's a real shame. Yeah. I think it was the Hubert Eichner's High School, and then it was Centralia High School. And then after declining attendance, they made a furniture place out of it. And that got torn down in the 80s like everything else did. So they had one hell of a truck, huh? Yeah, one too many visits to Chipotle.
Adam did bring up a very good point in previous visits as well as this visit, that so many people come up here for the graffiti highway, but there's so many other places in this town that have so many stories behind them, tons of history. So graffiti highway is cool to see, don't get me wrong, but when you come to a place like this, make sure you get out and you see everything that's there.
We're making our way down to our local playground.
actually be either from the swing set, or that could even be from, say, the merry-go-rounds. That's how they built them back in the 20s.
You ain't pumping that out of the ground.
No. That's meant for the boys, yeah.
That's a dad bod swing set. That's the whole family.
Well, those stuff's have been there for an awful long time, long enough that I didn't even see them.
I might have a little picnic area up here.
Yeah, very well could have. Yeah, and guys with these UTVs riding up on the side, doing a bike, cutting donuts.
They're the ones that ruin it for the rest of us.
Yes, they do. Something of Blessed Mary. What a beautiful church. They drilled, I believe they drilled something along the lines of about 1,800 of them. And what they'll do is they take this cap off and they put a thermometer down there and they'd use that to track where the fire was going. Wow. There is a metric crap ton of these things all over the place. Even down on Park Street where it's safe. They have the boreholes down there. And as I was bringing up before, this is about the approximate area here, this road here, of where the water table that runs east to west in town goes. And that's what kept the fire from coming up this way, because it was actually protecting the town. So if the government was honest, they could have turned around from Park Street, which is the next street over north. They could have said, no, you're not eligible, you're not in the danger zone. That town would only lost the bottom 3 blocks. That's...
They want that coal.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
They want that coal.
They want that coal. Embedded into the tree. Nature is reclaiming, that's right. Yeah. Part of a swing set that was going through these valleys in the tree. The tree actually grew up and around the pipe. There were swings in that area there for kids. What'd you find? Oh, look at this.
Right between the trees.
Part of the base for the swing.
Oh wow.
That's probably what it was at the time when they met. When that. This wall here, this is basically a retainer wall for the hillside up there. This area up here was the sports field for the high school. They had the football field, they had their track area. And we can go up there, we're going to step right up there and go right up
It's going the hard way.
Yeah.
By me.
There's some steps. As Adam said, this is the old, excuse me.
Well, I know they say at the start they were going pennies on the dollar and nobody would move unless they were really desperate. But then you might have one person move, but for the one person to move, you had a pretty nice sized house.
Once the property, there was ones here. This is the crushing here.
Found the front sidewalk. There's a walkway. Drive by the front wall.
It would have been the walkway up to the house.
Some ones I've seen you go in, potatoes are done. Someone vandalizing, or is it?
That one is on fire still. They never extinguished it because they sealed that one up now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but